Happy Wednesday to you guys. Hey, it's another edition of Clutch Sports Talk with me, your host, Ryan Flowers. Hope you guys are doing well. I want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys today and what a mess of that situation is going on out there. Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys, you guys need to step it up. I also want to talk about my top 5 NFL teams going into week 7. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. It's Clutch Sports Talk. Let's go. Welcome in, guys. So appreciative you guys coming in and joining me on another edition of Clutch Sports Talk. Happy hump day. Hope your week is going well. We're almost there. Gonna get you guys through. But today, man, I want to focus a lot on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I am a fan, as you can see. I got merchandise there. I got helmets back here. You know, you see the display behind me. I am a Cowboys fan. But I got to keep it real with you guys. And that Monday night showing was terrible. That team was not prepared once again. And the crazy thing about it is that the head coach really, I don't know, he said that was the best preparation they've had going into any game this week, and they still got dusted. I get it. Dak was hurt. The offensive line was hurt. A lot of things, but I want to focus on what a nightmare it is. But before I do that, I just want to do a little housekeeping information with you guys. For those of you who don't know, you can catch me on YouTube at the search Clutch Sports Talk podcast with me, Ryan Flowers. You'll find me there, man. You can hit me up on my Instagram at clutch.sports.talk. I'm always putting content up there. Hit the like button on YouTube. Subscribe to me, please. Hit that notifications link, man. It'll get you updated on all things related Clutch Sports Talk. Oh yeah, it's gonna be great, man. But anyway, back to the Dallas Cowboys, man. What a nightmare! What a scenario that's taking place down there. I mean, they got shelled on Monday night. It was just a despicable display professional football that I have seen in quite some time. That team was not ready. I feel like there's a few things that I want to talk about and get into as the reason why there's so many problems going on in Dallas. You know, they're in big trouble. There's no secret. There's serious problems. And for the delusional Cowboy fans that think, well, hey, it's just a little bit about scheming and strategy. It's bigger than that. These problems are embedded in this franchise, and it goes way deeper than X's and O's and bros and Joes. Okay. And when I say bros and Joes, I mean the players. It's bigger than that. It's alarming, and it's really scary as a Cowboys fan. I've been rolling with them since the mid 90s. I'm 36 years old now. So pretty much almost my whole entire life, I've been a Cowboys fan, a devoted Cowboys fan. Hell, I named my son Dallas. So, I'm legit a Cowboys fan. This team has not had any really championship success since 95, 96, when the last time they made an NFC championship, and then they won a Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers. 1995. I was in 5th grade when that happened. I'm not in school anymore. I went to high school, graduated college, was in the military, all that. And these guys have still not tasted the success of winning a conference championship. And they're in a list of teams that people also make fun of. For example, the Cleveland Browns, the Miami Dolphins, Detroit Lions. I couldn't remember the list, but there's like 7 teams that have not made a conference championship, and the Dallas Cowboys are on that list. And that's a problem. When most of us are people that see that star, the star is supposed to represent a certain thing. And to me, when I see the star, it represents prestige, it represents honor, it represents a winning legacy. And right now, when I look at the star, I just want to say, you know what? It's a falling star, because the star has not shined bright in quite some time down in Dallas. And I don't know what they can do to get it going, but I have a few thoughts on what the problems are. So I'm going to start, maybe, I don't know if it's a particular order, but I will start with kind of the recent stuff here now. So the coaching situation. Mike McCarthy, I thought initially was a good fit. I don't think so. I think the guys that he brought in with him are not doing a good job. Usually good coaches, head coaches, also have really great staffs. And Mike McCarthy's been out of football a year. When he was fired by the Packers, there really weren't a lot of takers on him. Jerry Jones made an offer. He said, you know what? It beats sitting at home. Let me get a check and come and coach Dallas. Why not? They got Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Amari Cooper, which I'll touch base on here in just a moment. And then what does Mike McCarthy do? And I've touched base on this on previous episodes of my show. He hires one of his friends, Mike Nolan, who really, really isn't a great defensive coordinator. Last time he was a defensive coordinator was with the Atlanta Falcons a few years ago. And that team, that defensive unit, was one of the worst defensive unit in all of football during his tenure there. A lot of people say, well, it could be the strategy. Yeah, I mean, it is. Some of the stuff is outdated. You look at the responsibilities of Kellen Moore. They probably retained Kellen Moore because they saw that Dak Prescott had a lot of success with Kellen Moore, the last couple of years. But to me, the numbers kind of lie. And a lot of people say numbers never lie, but I feel like numbers do lie in this sense because here's the thing. Dak put up a lot of points and a lot of yards, but a lot of it is because they're coming back. He has to throw the ball. And I think that's what was going on in the beginning of this year. He's leading the league in passing, even hurt. But why? Because they're down 30, 20, 25 points, 30 points going into the second half or the fourth quarter, whatever the case may be. And so they have to run up the score. They have to get back in the game by throwing the ball. Kellen Moore early is not a great play caller. I mean, it's just a fact. He's not elite. He gets out-coached by very strong defensive coordinators. And early in the games, here's the thing with coordinators. Most of them, I'm not saying all, most of them have a script that they go by. No matter what's happening in the first quarter or the first couple series of a game, they have a script. They're going to run the script in order just to see what they can get away with and just to see what the defense does to react to their offense. And it's pretty obvious. I'm watching the games at home. And I was a week or two ago, my cousin was here. We were watching the games, and I'm literally just calling out plays like, all right, this is what it's going to be. All right, what's the down, the 2nd and 3 or whatever? This is what's going to happen. Okay, 1st and 10, this is what they do. And I'm not a professional coach by all means. Like, trust me, I do coach football. I understand football. That's the segue into my film session. Check it out. But here's the thing. If I'm able to sit on my couch with a beer and some chips and be able to point out things that are happening, don't you think a defensive coordinator or a very skillful defensive player on the other team will be able to point those things out? And it's obvious. And so part of the problem is the scheming. It's just not very creative. You look at other teams, the Sean McVays with the Rams, 49ers, they don't have quite the star power Dallas has, and they're able to do a lot of things now. And they're a lot more creative. Excuse me. So Kellen Moore, I think Mike, I don't know if Mike McCarthy can do any much better, but he probably definitely needs to be a little bit more involved in the offense and needs to babysit Kellen Moore a little bit more. Maybe Kellen Moore will develop into a better play caller later on, but right now I think the job was just given to him way too early, and that's one of the problems with Dallas. The second problem, contracts. Now, Zeke got paid. Jalen Smith got paid. Amari got paid. They paid Tyron Smith some cents there. Dak is franchised right now, and who knows if he'll get paid. DeMarcus Lawrence got paid. They paid a bunch of dudes. They signed Everson Griffin. All these contracts are terrible now. DeMarcus Lawrence is one of the highest paid defensive linemen, and honestly, he's not even ranked anywhere in the top 10, top 15, top 20 defensive efficiency ratings. Like, he's not playing well. I don't know. He's got an injury or a knee. The dude, going into his contract year, the dude had like double-digit sacks. He was really playing at a high level. He was arguably considered one of the best defensive linemen at the time before he got paid. He got the bag. Now he's on Instagram, showing off his Teslas, the jewelry, and all that stuff. I'm not against players getting their money. I have no problem with that. But when you get the money, you got to play. So with great opportunities come great responsibilities. And the responsibility for him now that he's gotten the bag, you got to get paid. Same thing with Jalen Smith. Where are you at? I think for Jerry Jones, he paid Jalen Smith a little early and more, probably because he felt guilty, because Jalen Smith going into his senior year was probably one of the top players going into the college football draft, period. Like top 5, easily. Has the knee situation or leg situation. No one stays away. People stay away from him. Jerry Jones drafted him. He lost a lot of money not going in the top 5. Jerry Jones tried to make it up to him on the back end. It's not paying off. And now we're stuck with these contracts. Tyron Smith, another guy we paid. He's always hurt now. God bless him. It's time to cut him and move on. Who else did I mention? Amari Cooper. We're paying him to be a number 1 wide receiver, and really he's not doing anything but just a guy that collects garbage stats towards the ends of games. He's not anymore, not a true number 1. Now he's done well, in some games with Dallas Cowboys, but overall, for the amount of money that he's being paid, it's not worth it when Michael Gallup or CeeDee Lamb can easily step into that role and probably just produce just as much. I don't know if he's a great leader in the locker room. I don't know. So those are guys, man, that Jerry has paid and paid quite handsomely. Oh, and don't get me started on Zeke. Zeke, honestly, is probably not even the best running back anymore. I mean, before the season, going into the season, there were all these things on Instagram, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, those are the top two guys. And I would sit there and be like, well, Zeke is good, man. Like, Zeke is good. But honestly, I turn on Derrick Henry, and the dude is a beast, man. I get it. He's got a full slate of offensive line, but I watched Zeke, man. He's got the fumbling going on right now. I like Zeke as a player, but I never was a guy that really bought into him because he's a knucklehead. And I really don't like to put my faith in knuckleheads because eventually they let you down. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's letting the whole organization down, especially with Dak not being there, being hurt for the year. He's getting tattoos on his belly that says, "Feed me." It's kind of like, you look at that and how do you defend that? Really, like, it doesn't make any sense. He's being paid, what, $90 million? He's not earning that money right now. And I get it. It's running is based off of his offensive line. And right now, the offensive line for the Dallas Cowboys is a mess. They got third stringers, fourth stringers. They're putting everybody. Our most tenured lineman is Connor Williams, who is a third-year player out of Texas. And I really wasn't that high on him. And he's our only veteran guy in there right now. So it doesn't look too good for Zeke. And especially he's got the case of the fumbles. He can't hold on to the ball. Part of the reason why we lost that game to Arizona the other night, two fumbles resulted in 14 points easily for the Arizona Cardinals. So all these contracts are terrible. They're going to be on the books for quite some time. Even if we cut them or waive them, we're still responsible for the rest of that money. I mean, that's one of the other reasons. Another reason is the draft. Now, this one is interesting because the Cowboys have done pretty well in the draft. They've drafted some guys, but what I think that they haven't done well is draft guys for specific needs. So going into this draft, the biggest need on our defense was, or on our team, period, not our offense. No, not our offense. Like, I like CeeDee Lamb, but I don't think that was the guy we probably needed to get, right? When we let Byron Jones go, you drafted a rookie cornerback who's actually playing well. I'll give him credit. He's going up against the top wide receivers every week, but it would have been nice to pay Byron Jones. That's the guy you probably should have paid, Jerry. Because, yes, Byron Jones is not flashy. He doesn't get a lot of interceptions, but he does cover well. And right now, our secondary is getting torched. We didn't address anything at safety. We let Jeff Heath go. And granted, I know Jeff Heath isn't a top player in safety wise, but he's a veteran player. He knows what he's doing back there. We signed Clinton Dix. We cut him a week or two before the season starts. It's like, and we're putting guys back there who've never really been full-time at safety before. When Earl Thomas is sitting out there, and Earl Thomas will probably never be signed, probably by anybody. I think Earl Thomas is probably done in the NFL, but that's a whole nother show. So another need we needed was, well, first we thought the D-line was going to be good. So I'll give them that. Arguably we should have a better D-line than what we see right now. Offensive line, you knew Travis Frederick retired. He had the disease that he had. He came back, tried to, tough it out for one season. He played it out, and he said, "I'm done." Tyron Smith, left tackle, man. That's one of the most important positions to draft for or pick up in the NFL. Why? Because if you have a right-handed throwing quarterback, guess what? His blind side needs to be protected, which is his left side. Tyron Smith, for all his worth, he's a Hall of Famer. No question about it. Great player, but he's always hurt now. He cannot play a full season. We didn't address that. So, defensive needs, corners, secondary, we didn't do anything of that. O-line, I mean, we did draft the center, I forgot his name, Biadic, but we needed a tackle. We needed a stronger tackle, which I feel like you can find pretty solid tackles in the NFL draft. We didn't do that. So we ended up taking CeeDee Lamb, who, he's going to be a nice pick, but is he really helping the Dallas Cowboys win? He's not. He's not helping us. They're only 1-4, 1-5 right now. So it really doesn't make a difference if you got a really top wide receiver and your quarterback's hurt now, and now your offensive line can't even block for your quarterback that's in there now. As you can see, that was the case on Monday Night Football. And lastly, the last problem that I see with the Dallas Cowboys moving forward is Jerry Jones overall. From a business standpoint, and I've said this before, I said it a few nights ago on my Instagram post. From a business standpoint, he is a great owner because he generates revenue. And as any businessman, that's what you want to do. That's why you own things, because you want to make money. own businesses just so you can have fun with it. You want to make money. He's done that. The Dallas Cowboys are the most valued franchise in all of sports, all over the world. Kudos to him. But from a football standpoint, operations, they're not getting it done. You know, you talk about the contracts. He's too loyal to a fault. Think about all the contracts he's paid out to guys that really never lived up to the bill. And he's done that for years. He's done that for years. He's the GM. He's the de facto. He's the guy. He's the commandant, the dictator of that ship. Nothing he can do is wrong, and that's a problem. And that is a very problem. He's just too loyal to a fault, and he's unaware. Like right now, he gets on the radio. He'll say, "Oh, I like the guys that we got. We got good football players." No, you don't. You don't have good football players right now at this point. You don't. And from an organizational standpoint, you haven't done anything, bro. Like, you haven't won a Super Bowl since 95, 96. I'm not saying you got to even win a Super Bowl, but you've only got like three playoff wins in like 20 something years. That should tell you a little bit about what you're doing, and you're not doing it correctly. And that's a problem. And I don't think he sees that. And if he does see that, he won't admit to it because his pride. And that's a big problem with Jerry Jones. And that's going to be a problem with the Dallas Cowboys. So Dallas Cowboys fans, just know that we will never be successful because Jerry Jones is going to be running the football side of things. And I don't know, God willing, it's not God willing, but God bless his soul, when he does pass away, will his son, pick up that model, or will he go in a new direction and try to take the team into another, take them to another path? It remains to be seen. But right now, the Dallas Cowboys have tons of problems, and it's not going to just stop today. It's going to continue to move forward. Even if they try to win some games, honestly, it doesn't even matter. They need to just tank the season, get some draft picks, address the defense, bolster your offensive line, and sign Dak. I mean, Jesus, sign Dak Prescott to a deal. Now, don't feel too bad for Dak, because he's going to make like 70 million, 80 million into this season and next year. Because if they franchise him, guess what? The tag goes up even more. Now, obviously, you want that guarantee, that security of a lengthy deal, but Dak Prescott will make some money at the end of this day, because Jerry Jones realizes now that, hey, maybe if we had him Monday night, we're in that game. And, and to Andy Dalton's credit, it's not really his fault. He's stepping into a mess, a melting pot of disaster with the offensive line and all the other things that are hard to overcome when you play for the Dallas Cowboys. So honestly, they might lose to Washington, because what is Washington? And that's who they play this Sunday. Washington has one of the best defensive lines in all of football. And guess what? Our offensive line sucks right now. So that game's going to be a pick 'em. I don't even know what the stat line is right now, or the money line is. I don't even want to know. But don't be surprised if the Washington Redskins get that victory at home. So good luck, Dallas Cowboys. Dak, man, come on back. We need you, bro. But Jerry, you got to do better. Dallas Cowboy Nations, we deserve better than that. All the money that we put into this organization, and this is what we have to show for, is getting dusted every week. So heads got to roll, but I doubt it. So anyway, moving on, staying in the NFL. It's real simple for me. Now, I follow a lot of other people on Instagram. I watch TV. I see top 5 power rankings. And here's the thing with the NFL, man. Like, nobody's right, nobody's wrong. But what you cannot do is you can't jump the ship quickly on certain teams, right? Now, it's a long season. Even though we're going into week 7, we still have a lot more games to be played. And things fluctuate every week. And sometimes things don't even make sense. Like, the Bears beat the Buccaneers, and then the Buccaneers just trounced on the Packers, who a lot of people had the Packers going to the Super Bowl or in their top 5. So, and do we believe that the Bears are still even a really good team? Like, no, like nobody thinks that. But that's the thing with these power rankings. They're fun, but don't take them too seriously. But I decided I'll do one just for the sake of the show, just so I can get my mix in there. But I'm going to give you some things to think about when you think about your own power 5 or top 5 or whatever rankings you want to call it. So in this particular order, I'm going to go from 5 to 1. So number 5, I got the Baltimore Ravens, right? Number 4, I got the Seattle Seahawks. Number 3, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 2, I got the Tennessee Titans. And number 1, I got Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, so there it is. So now I'm going to go back the other way. So I'm going to give explanations on why I felt like certain these teams needed to be where they ranked. And here they go. So number 1, Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, really, it's not much to say about them. They had a great showing. They bounced back off a tough loss to the Las Vegas Raiders at home. They go in and they basically dismantle the Buffalo Bills. I mean, that game was kind of close, but it really wasn't close if you watch the game. Mahomes, I mean, that's one of the reasons why you got to put him at 1. Mahomes is still a great player, find ways to win. The they're running the ball now. They are running the ball. They got the running back, Hilaire, what's his Edwards Hilaire. They just recently picked up Le'Veon Bell, which Le'Veon, as Lee Corso would say, not so fast, Le'Veon. Edwards Hilaire looked pretty damn good, man. So Le'Veon Bell, he's probably got to get situated in the system, but he'll, between him and Edwards Hilaire, they're going to be a 1-2 combo tandem there. And their defensive pass rush. Now, the back end of their defense isn't the best. We all knew that even last season. They still won the Super Bowl, but they get after the quarterback better than anybody in the National Football League. Probably, they're up there with the San Francisco 49ers when Bosa was around. So and the Saints. So they get after the quarterback. And honestly, the last reason why, Andy Reid, as even though he's been around, he's learned a lot. He's got his Super Bowl under his belt now. He is still evolving as a play caller, him and Eric Bieniemy. They're doing very creative things out there, and that's why I like them number one overall. Those are some of the reasons why. Now, the next team, the Tennessee Titans. For those of you who don't know, I just wrapped up a film session on their offense. It's a great watch. Please check it out. It's under my film session playlist on Clutch Sports Talk on YouTube. That's a nice little plug. Tennessee Titans, I love their play calling. It's so basic. It's just football, man. They line up, they run the ball, they pound, and they just run the ball really well. I mean, I can't even find any more superlatives to even compliment them on. They do a really good job. Ryan Tannehill is playing at an MVP level, kind of, sort of. He's not making a lot of mistakes. He's making the throws that he needs to make. And very accurate. He's moving it around in the pocket. He fits very nicely with what they're doing down there in Tennessee, which he never could have done back in Miami under the regimes there. Derrick Henry is a beast. You can't bring the dude down, man. Like, all 11 players on defense have to tackle that dude. You're not stopping him with the corner. So that's another reason. He's one of the top backs, if not the top back right now in the NFL. And he just rattled off 200 yards against the Texans. So, and then, they just find ways to win. Yes, they struggled against the Texans. I get it. And this is where I say, like, it's crazy, because here's the thing. They've won a lot of close games. And that's a good thing, and it can be a bad thing. It's a bad thing because sometimes those close games end up catching up to you more often in a situation where you don't want it to catch up to you. But then again, on the flip side, you win those close games. It gives you confidence that you can persevere and come back through anything. You look at the Chiefs from last year. They trailed in all of their playoff games double digits, and they end up winning the Super Bowl anyway. And they trailed in the Super Bowl 10 points with like 10 minutes left, and they still won the game. So it teaches them that mental toughness. I like what they're doing. They find ways to win. Mike Vrabel is doing a hell of a job down there in Tennessee. You got to give them credit. You got to give them credit. I don't care if you don't like them or not, you think they're boring. From a football standpoint, you got to give them a respect. Now, they got a big matchup coming up, I think, this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's going to kind of, obviously, the power rankings will change next week. But for this week, this is where I'm at today. The third team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, number one, defense. Their defensive line, getting after people. Minkah Fitzpatrick, that trade last year is looking pretty legit at this point. I don't really see any. Now their linebacker got hurt. Bush, he's out for the year, but I think they're still going to find a way to just kind of regroup and regather. Big Ben is playing well, better than I've ever seen him play. And they just keep finding wide receivers, bro. Like, Chase Claypool, I watched him play at Notre Dame. He was nice, big dude. He's like a mix of like DK Metcalf and I don't even know, but he's fast. They move him around. They put him in jet sweeps. That's another wide receiver. I don't know who was drafting or who was in their scouting room there, but they need to give that guy a raise, because legitimately they keep finding wide receivers. They got James Washington, Juju Smith, who's kind of falling back a little bit, but those three guys alone, James Conner's running the ball. They're playing really good defense. And then Mike Tomlin, let's give Mike Tomlin some credit, man. Like, people forget Mike Tomlin. They sleep on him a lot. Remember, he's got a Super Bowl. He's got a Super Bowl championship. Now, that should hold some weight somewhere, but he's had a few years where, they were down, but they never were like bad, like really, really terrible, like the Jets or even the Cowboys right now. He's always kind of been mid-level 500, but when he has everything going, this year he's got his quarterback healthy. They're firing on all cylinders. Even last year, that was a hell of a coaching job to almost make the playoffs with guys named Duck Rodgers and Mason Rudolph. Like, you got to give Mike Tomlin and his staff some credit So I will. And again, they have a tough matchup with Tennessee coming up here shortly. That's going to determine whether or not if they're really for real or they're not. But even depending on how they lose or win that game, I probably still keep them in the top 5 just because of the way they play defense. And we know at the end of the day, you got to play defense in this league to win championships, period. At some point, you got to play defense. It can't just be all offense. Next team, Seattle. This one's easy for me. Russell Wilson. That's it. He's my MVP right now today if the season ended. They're never out of a game without him. Now, their defense isn't the greatest. They're like last on almost every defensive category. Their offense isn't that explosive, but Russell Wilson puts them in positions to win games every single time they step out on the field. And they're undefeated, so that's the only reason why I even have them at 4. If it wasn't for Russell Wilson, this team would be terrible. I mean, just absolutely terrible. Without him, they are nothing. They are nothing without Russell Wilson. So, and lastly, the last team I have on my Power 5 is the Baltimore Ravens. Here's the thing about Baltimore Ravens. Like, they're a solid team. They play stout defense. They run the ball. They play, they're well coached, but they're only going to go as far as Lamar Jackson will take them. And right now he is not playing quarterback very well. He's still relying heavily on the run. I think the last 2 games, he's only averaging like 178 yards passing. When you play really good teams that can stop the run and they're going to force him to pass, which the Tennessee Titans did in the last playoff game they had last year, they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle. Like, I like them. I think they're a good team, but they're only going to go as far as Lamar Jackson will take him. So that's why I kind of had them at 5. I had them at 4, so I just switched to Seattle with them because Seattle was undefeated. And then but like I said, these power rankings, they're fun, stuff just to talk about, around the scuttlebutt or the water cooler, whatever you want to call it. But that's it. But I mean, we're going up. It's week 7 already in the NFL. There's a lot going on still. A lot's going to take place. Hopefully, we get some really good games. But other than that, man, that's it. That's my show this week. So, once again, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit me up on YouTube, subscribe, view my information, view my content. I really appreciate it. I also have articles. I write for lksportswriting.com. I've got some articles going up on there. My next article will be about the Dallas Cowboys, so it should be a good one. Remember, I'm not a biased Cowboys fan. I tell it like it is. Hit me up on my Instagram again at clutch.sports.talk. I always appreciate any comments, feedback, concerns, anything you guys want to talk about. Hit me up. That's what I'm here to do, man. But other than that, everybody be safe. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you guys Sunday morning for my pregame NFL show. And other than that, man, hey, it's another edition of Clutch Sports Talk with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work's done. See you later, guys. Peace.